So the ND filters for the DJI Air 2S by FREEWELL are now available. And we're going to take a look at this pack right here. I'll briefly explain how these are used and why they are a useful tool when filming with your DJI Air 2S. Also, at the end of this video, we'll compare the footage side by side with and without filters, just to see if you can tell the difference. So stick around and we'll get right into it. What's going on? Chad here, back again with another filter video. This time is for the DJI Air 2S. So the folks over at FREEWELL were kind enough to send me a all-day 8-pack of ND filters for the DJI Air 2S to evaluate. So this pack contains a variety of hybrid filters. So it comes with an ND 4PL, an ND 8PL, an ND 16PL, an ND 32PL, and an ND 64PL. And it also comes with a regular CPL filter and an ND 1000 and an ND 2000 for long exposure photos. So if you're not familiar with ND filters, ND stands for neutral density, and the filter is a dark piece of glass that reduces the amount of light that passes through the lens and onto the sensor. And PL or CPL stands for circular polarizing lens, which eliminates the glare off of reflective surfaces such as glass or a body of water. And it can also help bring out the saturation in colors. Now, many people have different opinions about using ND filters. I, for one, use ND filters all the time just to basically capture that natural looking footage or that natural motion blur that our eyes are more accustomed to. And to achieve that motion blur, it is recommended that you follow something called the 180 degree shutter rule. And what that states is that your shutter speed should be double of what your frame rate is. For example, if I'm shooting in 5K at 30 frames per second, my shutter speed should be 1/60th of a second. Now, to capture a balanced exposure, your camera uses a combination of ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. So since the Air 2 has a fixed aperture, the only variables left are ISO and shutter speed. Your ISO should be set to the lowest setting, which is 100, to reduce the amount of grain or noise in your image, which leaves the shutter speed. Now, ND filters allow you to slow down that shutter speed to achieve that 180 degree shutter rule without being overexposed. And if you try to apply those same rules without an ND filter, your image will be overexposed and blown out. Also, if you leave your camera in automatic settings, it will compensate for the overexposure by setting a high shutter speed, which tends to make your footage jittery or shaky. For example, take a look at this footage right here. So if we pause it right here, look at the footage on the left. Notice how it's very sharp, and you can see the details in the leaves and branches, while the footage on the right was recorded using an ND filter and with the 180 degree shutter rule applied. The leaves and branches now look blurry, and that's what we call motion blur. And also, to let you know, the 180 degree shutter rule is not written in stone. You can deviate from the settings and achieve the same motion blur or similar motion blur. Now, to install these filters, make sure you have your aircraft turned off, and then you want to secure the gimbal and camera, then twist the outer ring of the front of the camera counterclockwise, then put your FREEWELL ND filter on and turn it clockwise to snap it into place. Now it's time to look at some footage. This was shot in 5K at 30 frames per second, and the time of the day required me to use a ND 32PL filter. Let me know in the comments down below if you notice any difference with or without filters when it comes to the motion blur or the saturation of colors. So here we go.
The storm is coming, but I'm prepared. I'll be gone for a while, but don't be scared. Right now, I don't know if I'll ever arrive. Where the grass is green
Alright guys, I hope you found that useful. And if you are thinking of picking up a pack of ND filters, I did leave a link in the description below to where you can find all the packs that FREEWELL offers for the DJI Air 2S. And also, if you like this video and found it useful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like drone reviews, tips, tutorials, and cinematic videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you know the next time I post a video. But until then, check out this video right here, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.